better than me last time.
All right, gents, it's go time.
Yes, yes, yes. Once again, we are back.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
Uh,
indeed.
it is two fans with a mic. This is the podcast, the sports show that started as a text thread where you're just going back and forth so much that you're like, yo, man, I need to talk about it. And it's not good enough to talk about it. I need the world to hear about it. I am your host, Draze, joined by my co-host, Green.
What's
We're in the
happening?
building. Let's get it, man. How
Let's
you
do
doing?
it. I'm good, man. It's been a little bit, man, since we got to kind of rap, man. So I'm just ready to dive right in, man. What you got for me?
Listen, jet setting live from New York City. You know what I'm saying? From New York City.
Right.
You know what? Let's just start it off like free falling, man. Like, how you feeling about the NFL right now in general? Just
Man.
whatever you're feeling, whatever that means.
You know what's crazy about the NFL right now? I think it's been very surprising. One great thing about this sport, man, is you can never quite put your finger on things. You think you know what to expect, and then you just come into a season and the defense is just way ahead of all the offenses, man. And you're like, why can't Breece Hall get go? Why can't Bijan kind of find his, you know what I'm saying? And then things change. Me and you've talked about this. They change dramatically from week to week, and it's just it's a season to where we have two undefeated teams that we'll get into later. But even then, I think on both sides of this thing, it's wide open. And if you're a team who's trying to get healthy or trying to put the pieces together, you feel like you still have a shot because this thing is about as wide open as it's been in a while.
You know what? I probably could not have said any of it better than myself. Like the defenses have shocked me.
Yeah.
Watching offenses struggle across the league, numbers are down.
Yeah.
You know, the guys who are leading the league in passing, you just like, wait, what? Patrick Mahomes is averaging like a touchdown pass a game. That's it. Like, oh, but 5-0. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, remembering what the crucial number is, right?
Yes.
Wins and losses. So I love how you said it. The one thing you can't do is put your finger on this league.
Yeah.
I've probably most been excited by a term that you coined that I heard from you. Maybe you got it from somewhere else or whatever, but the throwaway quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I love Geno Smith. I love Baker Mayfield. I'm loving Sam Darnold. You know what I mean? Like the throwaway
the list goes
quarterback.
On.
Yeah. I mean, even Andy Dalton, who kind of Joe Flacco, right? Like guys who you just kind of like, hey, man.
Hey, just a quick question aside, just a quick response. Do the Colts have a quarterback controversy, or am I tripping?
Oh God, do they want to win right now?
That's the thing. What is the term to spite your face? It's like, what do you? Yeah. It's tough because you want to win, obviously, right? Because you can't take anything for granted, but you don't want to stunt the growth of your future, right? Or give up on a quarterback too early, which is why you said what you said with the throwaway quarterbacks. So it's a very interesting dynamic because without question, you see how much that Flacco helps the receiving core. That's actually really talented. And Anthony Richardson just hasn't played enough football yet. And I just think it's an interesting question.
And when they get their running back, it could get really interesting with Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
What would you do?
I would stay with Anthony. I would stay with Richardson. If nothing else, but for the reason that we're seeing what's going on in the league, where some guys just need more time. And you knew when you went all in with Anthony Richardson, he would need time because he hadn't played that much.
I hate the politics of football. That's what you just told me.
Yeah.
You got me politics.
Yeah.
Let's go, Joe. Smoking Joe. You know what? I would go Joe Flacco, but he would have a short leash. And it's just kind of like, you can lose a game. You just can't lose a game, right? It's got to be like, man, we were in the fight. We should have won. But once he loses, I'm just, let me go.
Get him out of here.
Yeah.
And it's something else real quick that kind of ties into what we think about this season, that there's so many storylines throughout the league and all these different cities. You can talk about the Colts like we just did, but on the other hand, the Steelers. Like, what do you do? Russell's ready now. Does he play? Or do you stay with Justin Fields, who has the locker room support? It's just such a fascinating season right now where it's like, it'll be crazy to see how all this unfolds.
It's the best soap opera on television. But you put it there. You put the stake in the ground, so we just got to address it.
Yeah.
What do you do if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers? Because you've lost 2 straight.
2.
So you were 3-0.
Yeah.
And remember when we were just talking about Patrick Mahomes, and I said touchdowns don't matter. The key number is wins and losses. He's 5-0.
Come on.
Justin Fields, and the numbers aren't good in Pittsburgh offensively.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, if he loses another one like right now,
yeah,
he's done. And I want to say on record, at the beginning of the season, I said it is great for Russell to not be starting. And I know I had a couple people when they were 3-0 hit me, and I thought you said, and I was like, man, it's a long season. Something's gonna happen. Tough times are coming, man. Yeah. Nobody is gonna go smooth sailing, and if it is, it's 1 or 2 teams. But everybody will have peaks and valleys.
Yeah,
and Pitt all of a sudden lost a couple tough ones where you go, man, Russ would have made that drive at the end of the game, man.
Yeah.
Where you go, man, these receivers just can't get cooking for nothing, man.
Yeah.
You just kind of, so what would you do, though? That's my last one, and we'll jump. What would you do? Man,
that's a great question. I think what I would do is I would put Russell in, right? Because if you listen to what Tomlin had said out the gate when they acquired both of these guys, he was steadfast and, hey, Russell's our starting quarterback, right? Up until this point, he was able to get away with going with Justin Fields for 2 reasons. A, Russell wasn't healthy, right? B, you were winning, okay? Either one of those are not true anymore, right? So now you can say face and be like, hey, hold on. I told you guys from the gate who our starting quarterback was. He hadn't been healthy. We wanted him to be 100%. That's why we invested in a quality backup to allow our starter to get healthy. Now he's healthy. He's our guy. And it affords you to be able to see what Russ has. And if he falls on his face, then you can go back to Justin Fields, right? But I think if you miss this window, it will cause for a lot more media attention for you choosing to go Russell later on in the year if Justin continues to struggle. And so I think it's almost a lose-lose because it's just really hard to play quarterback at a high level right now, and they need a win. But I think this is the best chance for him to be able to stick to what he's been saying this whole time and see what Russell has left in the tank.
So I'm going to answer it from a selfish perspective. I want them to stick with Justin Fields.
Okay.
Right? Stick with Justin Fields. And I'm saying this because I'm rooting for Russ.
Got you.
Right? If they go Russ right now, to me, his leash is going to be short.
Yeah.
But if we let this Justin Fields thing play out, right? Let it play out. And if he thrives, he thrives. That's just what it is. But let it play out. And my feeling is at some point they're going to go, let's give it to Russ. And once they go to Russ, they're going to give him the keys and he'll have a little bit more room. You know what I mean? Because Russ is going to need some room.
Yeah.
He's going to need some room. He struggles.
Yeah.
And the last thing I'll say is I think what would be exciting to me is I think they're going to make a receiver move. And I want Russ to kind of come in as that influx comes in. They need another receiver. Russ needs another receiver. So they are starved for weapons. The running game's not looking good. Justin Fields is actually better for that at this point, in my opinion. And so I think Russ needs another receiver. And then we can, well, I won't say let Russ cook, but we'll let him saute. You know what I'm saying?
Let him saute.
We'll let him saute.
You can see.
Yes. We'll let him sous chef.
Right.
Hey, people. So just to give you guys a little heads up on the show, what we got coming up, we're going to be talking about Devontae Adams in a little bit. We're going to talk about the biggest winners and losers from this week. You know we're going to hit you with some Jaden Daniels. the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings to see which one of them is for real. And of course, we will do some hot talk at the end. You don't want to miss any of this. But first things first, we are starting in not New York, where he came from, but New Jersey, where the New Jersey Jets just released their head coach. How are you feeling about it? They fired Saleh. Good move, bad move. What's your thoughts?
You know what's crazy, man? I think it's a bad move, but I'll say that I get it, right? I think it's a bad move, because if you were going to fire him this early on in the season, you should have went out and just got a Bill Belichick or somebody out in the wings this summer and allowed them to cook up this roster that is very talented, right? By not doing that, it led me to believe that, hey, we believe in Saleh, we're going to move forward, right? You make the change when Saleh is known to be a defensive head coach. The defense has actually been solid. The defense actually played the Minnesota Vikings extremely well. They didn't lose that game because of their defense. They lost that game due to their offense being stuck in the mud. So, we was doing our work today, big dog. So I had to do some research and things that I came up with. I don't know if my sources are accurate, but stuff that I came up with was Saleh wanted to go with a different offensive coordinator, right? He went to practice yesterday. Everything was solid. He brought the idea that, hey, maybe we need to demote our offensive coordinator and get some new spins in there. Apparently, that didn't go over well with some of the players, one potentially being Aaron Rodgers, because that's his guy. And then he comes to work today, which is Tuesday, and he's blindsided and let go. And so I look at the situation. They win next week. They're winning their division. Right now, that's all you could worry about. Like, obviously, we would like to have more wins on our plate. But at the end of the day, am I leading my division? Because I'm going to piece this thing together as the season goes on. We just got to October. So, yes, he's dropped a few bad games. He needs to be held responsible for that. But to be fired after his defense held the hottest team in the league down in a game and your offense failed you, and I come to work and I assess where we went wrong and I made a head coaching decision, which is to maybe get some mix up with the offense and I get let go, just kind of rubs me the wrong way. And now I feel like the Jets better get it together because this is a very, very heavy move that they made at an important time of the season.
This offense looked pedestrian.
Yeah.
It looked archaic.
Yeah.
It looks like, whoa. And it's everything is on Aaron Rodgers' shoulder. Yeah. It's like the Aaron Rodgers show. And that's what he wants and that's what he likes.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. It's something stinks in suburbia, man. Something is telling me this is not a football decision, man. This is something else. So Aaron Rodgers, it's reported, met yesterday with the owner of the Jets, and they had a conversation. And the owner says, well, yeah, we didn't talk anything about this. Man, you got to be kidding me, man. Right. I was born that night, but it wasn't last night, okay? I'm telling you that A-Rod want to do can, and shout out to Robert Saleh. Like, if what you're saying is true, I have the utmost respect for him, and here's why. Mm-hmm. His willingness to try to get rid of their offensive coordinator is a massive decision. That's a coach with kahunas. Yeah. A coach who knows, I know this is A-Rod's guy, but this is in the way of my team, and I'm going to do it my way. And I've always believed when I do anything, when I write music, when I'm in the studio, I do it my way. Because if it hits or if it flops, if I do it your way and it flops, I'm going to be mad at myself.
Right.
So I'm going to do it my way, and if it flops, I can live with that. I did it my way. Yeah. And so I just think that the Jets, bad move. I don't – it's kind of a Mm-hmm. Like, what are we doing? What? Yeah. Why? I don't get it. Why now? Yeah. That's the real question. It's like, well, why now? And there's clearly there was clearly a lot going on. There's the awkward hug, and I'm not a body language type guy, but that hug, man.
That didn't look good.
Hey, enemies have hugged better than that, bro.
Come on, man.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying,
good.
Suge Knight and P. Diddy hugged better than that in 95, bro.
Right.
This is an awkward hug. You know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, no Diddy people, pause, and all of that other stuff.
All that.
You know what I mean?
All of it.
Pause, no baby oil, whatever, right? You know, but yeah, I mean that's my thought, and I think the Jets are, you know, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think everything is in front of them, though, you know, and so at this point, there's no one else to blame from here, though.
No,
right? And shout out to Salah. He's got one more year on his deal. He gets to get paid to sit at home next year. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting paid what he's making to sit at home. You know what I mean?
Come on, fire me, bro.
So on to another thing. There are 2 5-0 teams, the Minnesota Vikings, the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams look really good. Which one do you like best, and who's going to lose first? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which one of you guys do you have dropping a game sooner?
So the one that I like best, obviously, is the one who has an alien on their team. And you said it well earlier. It's like he's not even playing well in the sense of stats, right? Now, granted, they've lost a lot of people. You know, Hollywood Brown was projected to be a major part of this offense. You know, Isaiah Pacheco, big part of the run game. Rashee Rice was coming into his own. Some major pieces, right? But the defense has been phenomenal. You can't just act like it's all Mahomes. Like, I mean, they're obviously well coached. Travis Kelce is a first ballot Hall of Famer. And that defense, outside of Aaron Donald over the past 10 years in the trenches, man, there's probably not a player I would rather have than him. They really draft extremely well. So that's the team that I think, and obviously they've done it. You know, they're going for the 3rd championship in a row. So it speaks for itself. But what's interesting, who do I think will lose first? They both have a bye this week. And then I actually think they both lose the following week. You have the Chiefs playing the 49ers, which I think is going to be a very, very, very desperate team. And we'll get into them a little bit later. And then you have the Vikings playing the Detroit Lions, who I think they're really trying to get home field throughout at 3-1. They're coming off of a bye, and so both of them will be. So they'll have plenty of time to kind of measure each other up. But I think the injury to Aaron Jones will be big for the Vikings. He has been playing really good football for them. And I think, you know, the Chiefs really trying to figure out where their offense is coming from versus 49ers team that's trying to get healthier and healthier. I think they both lose in week 6 at the same time. Can you believe that?
You know what? I can. I'm not, you know, I don't think, I'll tell you this. In the oddest of ways, this is going to sound really weird. The Chiefs are an amazing football team. Yeah. Like, and it's showing right now. Yeah. And I think the best thing on the Chiefs, aside from the guy you call the alien, is their brain. They're cerebral. They know they're going to win. They're never moved. They're not tripping. They're kind of cruising through the season. It's like basketball teams waiting on the playoffs or something. Yeah. They're just kind of like, let's just keep, you know what I mean? Let's just keep scrapping, getting wins, pull it out here. I watched the game that the Chiefs played against the Chargers, and Harbaugh completely outthought himself. Yeah. At one point, the game was 10-10, and the Chargers were down in the red zone, and they're on like the 5-yard line, and he gets the 4th down, and he goes for it, right? And everything about him going, it's the 4th quarter. It's 10-10. So your defense is clearly holding Mahomes. Right. But the fear of Mahomes is that if I don't punch it in here, right, that guy is going to walk us down
Yeah.
and score.
Yeah.
And he goes for it and he doesn't get it. He outthought himself. To
Mhm.
me, I'm watching the fear of them just kind of like, I'm watching teams do things that are uncharacteristic and making mistakes
Yeah.
because they think they're playing the old Chiefs. And I don't think these are the old Chiefs,
Right.
right? But their coach is the best coach in football right now.
Mhm.
Andy Reid is
Yeah.
par excellent.
Yeah.
He is doing that damn thing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? He's
Yeah.
plugging and pull. Kareem Hunt comes off the scrap heap, comes in there, gets 27 carries for 102 yards. We
Yeah.
beat you 4 or 5 different ways. It don't
Yeah.
matter. But I am incredibly impressed with this Vikings team.
Mhm.
I like what I am seeing. I like them better than I like the Chiefs. That's
Yeah.
how much I like them.
Mhm.
Right? Like they're a really good football team.
Yeah.
That defense, oh my God.
Yeah.
I like the Chiefs defense. I like the Vikings defense more.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I'm saying long term. I'm saying I like the body of work.
Yeah.
What they've done to whom they've done it to. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? And so, but these are just two good teams. They both deserve it. 5-0. Yeah, they're playing. These two teams are playing the best football in football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I don't know who loses first. I nobody's going 17-0,
Mhm.
but they're really good teams. The Aaron Jones loss is going to be really big for those guys. So
Mhm.
it'll be interesting to see how they kind of bounce back. They need every piece.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas like how Kansas City has kind of gotten away with plug and pull. And one more note, I think KC's going to get a receiver.
Mhm.
They're going to get a receiver. They're not the team that's unwilling to put the second rounder up.
Yeah.
Like when the word three-peat is anywhere in the vicinity,
Yeah.
like you go all in.
You go all in.
And if you check with, how guys check in, we're gonna call Patrick Mahomes and see what he wants. You don't have to bother.
You know what he wants.
He's gonna say,
Do it.
Do it. I got it. So I'm like, everything is in place for them to make a move. They will. They're just gonna decide we're 5-0. That means we have enough time. We know that November 5th is the trade deadline. We got a little bit of time. We got a month to work with. There's about 6 receivers out there.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll get one of them.
Yep.
But, speaking of receivers out there,
Mhm.
there's a guy by the name of Devontae Adams.
I heard of him.
Yeah. No longer in Oakland. Well, he's got a hammy.
Yeah.
He's got a hammy. He's got a hammy. He's got a hammy. He can't play, right? He can't play. I have a feeling as soon as he gets to a new team, the hammy will.
I think
the hammy will. Yeah, the hammy's gonna start hammying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of teams on the market for him. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens,
Mhm.
The New York Jets, and on and so forth. What team do you think needs him the most? Where do you want him to go? And if you got a dark horse team, whatever, talk to me.
Great question, brother. Before I dive into that, I just want to say that I'm kind of sad a little bit of the division that it has caused between Devontae Adams and Coach Pierce. I was rooting for both of those guys, and you got two high-level competitors who probably are just on two different waves right now, and you got to respect both of them. But it was unfortunate to see how it played out, and hopefully those two can mend their situation down the line. But
well, can we go back to the beginning of the year though, to what you said?
Yeah,
he shouldn't have been there. Devontae should have. This, I, you know what I mean? Like they should have cut their losses last year. Like, guys, this isn't gonna work. You're not gonna be good.
It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna be okay with it.
Right. It was inevitable, man, and we saw it because we're just like, yeah, well, that team is not as good as that team or that team, and that's the division. That's only the division. But yeah, so here we are. And when I look at, first I'll say the team that I would like him to go to. I'm going to take the Chiefs completely out of it. That's the team that makes the most sense for everybody involved. Devontae Adams wants a championship. They need a championship level receiver. 2 + 2 = 4. So we'll put them out of it. Everyone else, right? All the speculation, obviously, is the Jets. I don't like that for so many reasons. A, it's the New York City media. When you just fired a coach, now you bring in, like, it's going to be a freaking circus, right? And so I wouldn't want that, but that's probably the likely spot. For me, I would like him to go to 2 places. The first place would be the Baltimore Ravens. I really believe in what the Baltimore Ravens are cooking up. Again, that's my pick to make it to the Super Bowl. But when I watch them play, it's hard for me to not desire them to have another capable wide receiver who could take attention away from those talented tight ends, attention away from Zay Flowers, and just can be very dependable for Lamar Jackson. Obviously, they have the best running game in the league, but I think Devontae Adams would really be able to take that offense to a new level. That defense is not the same defense as it was last year, man. Losing Coach McDonald and all those other pieces are showing that it matters. And so maybe they can get there by December, but right now, I think they need to be a little bit more potent offensively to win a Super Bowl. I think right now they're in the thick of it, but if they really want to go into that top tier and be like, hey, we can beat the Chiefs, I think they'll want that to happen. Another team I think desperately needs help is the Buffalo Bills. I think the world of Josh Allen, but I think he's a bit overrated in this aspect, thinking that he can carry a team like this further than where they could probably go. I think their ceiling is tapped with the amount of talent they have on their team right now. But if you were to infuse a receiver like Devontae Adams over there, it dramatically shifts the expectation. I'm waiting to see if they'll be able to run the football. I don't know. But if you have Devontae Adams, he will definitely assist in aiding you running the football much better come December, which is what this team needs. And so those will be my 2 picks, the Ravens and the Bills. We'll leave the Chiefs out of it, but I think the Jets would be a bad move, and that's my take.
I love your take. I'm with you. No Jets for all the reasons you named. I won't go through them. I love your Bills take. Love it. Didn't see that one coming. I was just like, oh man, the Bills. That's a dark horse. That's kind of because I've been when we started pondering this question, I was like, who's a team that we haven't thought about though? You know what I mean? Like that's one that like it would be good. My only, with everything, there's a plus and a minus. My question to that would be, does it infuse a little bit of the energy they had before? While I do not like, I agree with you about Josh Allen. You know, I feel I've said that those guys are a regular season team, not built for the playoffs, right? And for that reason, I'm like, they don't got enough, man. This is football, bro. You know, we start the year, you got enough or you don't, right? Teams at the end usually have enough, right? And so I don't know if Josh Allen can do it like that. I mean, no one can do what Patrick Mahomes did last year. That's really hard to do. You know what I'm saying? In the history, I think there's been one other guy, that was Brady. That's it. I don't know anyone else who's dragged receivers. What Mahomes did last year was like, whoa, man, this is really remarkable. This is really remarkable, right? And so, you know, I don't think Josh Allen can do it. But I'll go to my teams, right? I'm sorry. And to your Ravens pick, I really do like the Ravens. I just have a question about, does he find himself frustrated? I think Devontae Adams wants to still play football at a high level, and he's had a couple of years of not doing it, and now it's like, I want to win. I do want to win a ring. I want to be that. But I also, man,
I want a ball.
I need to give somebody the business. You know what I'm saying? And in Baltimore, it's just not going to happen. But I think he had but they win the Super Bowl with him though.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so I think he gives them exactly what they need. A receiver who's kind of possession-y, but who can take the top off the defense too, because he's such a great route runner. And so perfect compliment to Zay Flowers and mentor, right? Yeah. So I'll add teams in there. I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers guy. That's another one. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers puts him in basically the similar situation. Either quarterback is not going to give him what he needs,
right?
Russ or Justin. So the two teams that I have for you, number one, we're going to head on down to Washington to the Commanders. This where I want to. I want to. Listen, people. As a Commanders fan, listen, okay? I want to say that I'm not just saying, when I say this, I'm saying two things at the same time, okay? This is not me saying Devontae. This is me being as bought in.
Right.
I mean, I'm just like, yo, man, I got a little extra change. I mean, I'm going in my couches and getting the change. I mean, I am bought in on Washington and Green. I've never seen it happen so fast. I'm so bought in. You know, I'm a Commanders fan, people.
Dude, through and through, you guys. He doesn't play.
Seattle Seahawks, Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
And when we started this season, I wanted to lose out.
Yeah.
Let's lose. We got Jaden. You know, let's lose out. Go get draft picks, and next year is our year. This was me.
Yeah.
This is me now.
Yeah.
It's our year. It's our year. It's our year right now. It's now time. Why not us?
Yeah.
Why not? I got Brian Robinson running good. Eckler's looking really good and spry. My offensive line is looking amazing. I've got McLaurin on one side. And wait a minute. You mean if I can put Devontae? Now, hold on. Now, why do I got to wait? Why do I got to wait?
Yeah.
If he is going to play the way he's playing, and I don't need to say who he is.
No need to, brother.
If he's going to play like that, give me Devontae.
Yeah.
You know, Green, I wanted to go to the draft, get a receiver. I just wanted to build it. I didn't want Ayuk in the offseason, all of that. Now I'm just, give me Devontae. Give me now. Give me now. I got this quarterback on the rookie contract. We can absorb that money. Let's bring him in. Let's go.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. We'll go to the draft next year and do what we do.
Right.
So that's one team. I have a second team that is my dark horse team for Devontae Adams. I don't know that you'll like this.
Okay.
But the second team that I think should come from out of nowhere and actually do this. If I were the GM, I'm on the phone. The Detroit Lions.
Ooh.
If I'm the Detroit Lions, Jameis Williamson is not the pairing for Amon-Ra St. Brown. They need another weapon. When I often talk about them not winning it all, it's because Amon-Ra needs help. That's how the running game's solid. Don't get me wrong. They're phenomenal. I think they can beat anybody. So I don't want to take nothing out. But when it all hits the fan, I just go, you got to play San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who you got to beat. Like, you got to beat the Eagles when they're fully loaded. And I look and I go, when you look at their offense, aside from the running game, and their running game's good, their elite weapon is Amon-Ra. They need something else. That's what I think. Laporta's still a second-year guy. Williamson is a receiver, but he's still on a freshman, a rookie contract. You can do it. I'm them. I'm pushing my chips to the table. You tell me Devontae Adams next to Amon-Ra. Oh man, that's what I would do. I'm sorry. It's the type of, that's a San Francisco 49ers move. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They believe in wealth, riches, gluttony. You know what I'm saying? They just keep feeding you and feeding you. They're gonna dude, do you know they're in the Devontae Adams talks? Like, Jesus, what else do you guys need?
Just go over there, man. Dang.
You know, so if I'm Detroit, I start thinking like these guys. They went to the Super Bowl doing that. They went and got McCaffrey and they got
Yeah.
Debo. They're loaded. They're
Yeah.
loaded.
Yeah.
I'm and those moves are like when we talked about Kansas City earlier, we talked about them making a trade. That's pushing your chips in. If Baltimore gets him, they're pushing their chips in because Baltimore is financially in a position where once they get him, they are strapped, right?
Yeah.
If I'm Detroit, I'm pushing my chips to the tech. It's now time.
Yeah.
Do we want to win a Super Bowl? Or I look, is Detroit winning the Super Bowl this year? Most of us would say no,
Right.
not winning it.
Right.
We're saying they're going to go far. They're going to be in it. That's fine. Anybody I ask, nobody has them to win it.
To win it, yeah.
Now, after that move, you're like, yeah, they can win it.
He changed things.
When the Saints go marching in, man, you want to be in that number.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No question.
That's it. So
yeah.
Okay, so this week, a lot of good football games around the league. What was your biggest win and biggest lose, and why when you looked around the league?
I'll start with the biggest win. I think the biggest win for me was the Dallas Cowboys. I think obviously they are going to be the most criticized team in maybe all the sports for great reason. And they went into an environment and a game to where not many expected them to come out and win. They were actually losing. And for them to dig deep and pull out a win, it's just kind of like they all, like you said, the Bills regular season team and all that other stuff. Like that's what the Cowboys have been forever. Like for whatever reason, it's just a different type of success that they can find during a regular season. Like no one will like you said, does anybody have the Lions win the Super Bowl? No one has the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, but most people could see themselves putting the Cowboys in the playoffs. And, you know, the way the season started for them, it wasn't great. And then you had the holdout with CD, and then you got two major injuries with Lawrence and Michael Parsons, and they don't really have a run game. But now they're 3-2 after that big win. And in a division where it's still wide open, in a conference that is wide open, and a lot of teams dealing with significant injuries. And so it's just they're still in a solid position after 5 weeks. Especially where they were just a couple weeks ago. And so the Steelers are still a really good team, and they went in there and got a win. So I would say that was the biggest win. And the worst loss is just we text about this briefly because we're going to dive into it. And I'll elaborate, but just the Seahawks, man. An opportunity for them to really put a stranglehold on A, the division, and B, the conference, to drop a game versus a team that's not really on anyone's radar, right? With significant injuries at home. Just a bad, I think it was a trap game loss, and that's no excuse. It's disgusting, but just when you watch, because I didn't even get to watch the game live. Like I'm watching it on my phone because I was out of town. And so I'm hitting my guy Kev, like, yo, what just hell's going? What is I didn't understand it. The score wasn't reflecting what I thought was what's going on? And when they lost the game, so I'll leave it there. Biggest win, Dallas Cowboys. Biggest loss, the 206 Seattle Seahawks.
I got two separate teams for you, so that's good.
Yeah.
Biggest win, and I did have the Dallas Cowboys on my radar. I had two teams kind of tied, so I'm glad you spoke about them. I want to say the biggest win is the Denver Broncos. Ooh. Right? A team that started the season, I think it was 0-2.
Yeah.
And now they've won 3 straight, and they're 3-2.
Yeah.
And it's dangerous. This defense is playing completely amazing. Yeah. I was knocking Sean Payton. I was ready to call him the laughing stock. And He who laughs last laughs loudest. And he's laughing at me right now, right? And I'm like, man, they are quietly putting something together. It reminds you of what Harbaugh is doing with the Chargers. And what it makes me say is, oh, this division ain't gonna be easy. These boys ain't gonna roll over for the Chiefs now. They're going. I know the division games are coming. It's gonna be a fight. They're like, yo, Patrick. And even if you win it this year, next year, yeah, you're feeling our energy. These teams are better.
Yeah,
they're better and they're getting better. So shout out to the Denver Broncos. I mean, kudos to them, man.
Yeah,
hell of a win.
Great call. I mean, great call.
And then the biggest loss for different reasons. Obviously the Seahawks loss was a gut punch. And I could have it there. But the biggest loss to me, honestly, even bigger than the Seahawks, is the Cincinnati Bengals. To go to 1-4, it just makes it really tough. You just can't lose that game.
Yeah.
And you can't lose that game because you've put yourself in this position. They're putting themselves in the position of like, hey, man, when you start losing, weird things happen in the locker room. You know, fingers start pointing. Blame starts going around. And teams that actually are talented and might be able to pull it together, some of them don't, just simply because we got into that funk and, you know what I mean? And we couldn't get the stink off of us. And so for me, 1-4 is 1-4. And that's a tough hole to climb out of. They can. There's time.
Yeah.
But at this point, they're starting to look at, man, let's try to get into that 6 or 7 seed.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's not the conversations you want to be having right now.
No.
You want to be talking about winning your division.
Yeah.
They're not talking about that. They're
Let's
talking
just get
about,
in. Let's just get in.
Yeah, let's just get in. Yeah, that's not. It's too early to start playing that conversation, right?
Yeah.
But you got to play the cards you're dealt. I think they have a shot to get in. They're not out of things at all, right? A lot of teams are 3-2. They're 1-4, so you're 2 games back. But that's 2 whole games, man. That's a lot of It's a lot of ground to cover. Okay.
Can I speak on something real quick?
Yeah,
I just want
please
to
do, please do.
Because I loved your picks, man. I really did. The Bengals was a great call. What's really bad is they shouldn't have lost that game. The defense is awful. Whatever's wrong with the team is not the offense, right? It's clearly the defense. They can't stop anybody. But even still, through all the ebbs and flows of the game, Burrow puts the team in position to kick a field goal, do shanks the field goal in overtime. Like do your job, right? And then it's just like you lose the game, and it just goes to what we talked about a few weeks ago. The toughest job of any coach in collegiate or professional sports that has a lot of media attention is keeping it about the game. I want to keep it about football. I want to keep it about basketball. There's been so many distractions in Cincinnati, whether it be T. Higgins' contract getting traded, Jamar Chase getting traded, injuries, can the defense hold up? And like you said, at 1-4, things start shifting in the locker room. Like guys are just not. It's not about football. You have winners on that roster, so like you said, they have a chance, but it's just not a good position to be in. And so I really like your pick. I'm so caught up with the Seahawks right now that that was just heavy on my mind. But that's a really great pick.
Appreciate it, man. And before we go to the Seahawks, people, we're going to go Seahawks in a second. We got to take a commercial break, right? Just to shine on light.
Right.
You know what I mean? On God's son.
Come on.
Not Nas. Not him. Not Jesus, the only begotten son.
Right.
Not me.
Right.
Not Randy. We're all God's children. But there's this son of his out there in Washington, D.C., the nation's capital.
Yeah.
The Heisman Trophy Award winner. Oh, Jaden, I want to give you the floor, man, just to, take a minute. Tell me what you're seeing. What's not to like? You know what I mean?
if you find something to dislike, then look yourself in the mirror and say, hey, I'm a hater, right? It's that simple. Because how can you not root for this guy? The thing that I love the most is the stories I hear that you don't see on Sundays. The fact that they say he's always the first one to show up. He's at the facility at 4 or 5 in the morning. He gets his film session and his workout session before everybody else gets there. He's consistently in there, right? He's working hard. He wants to win. And what I always tell my bro Draze is that there's just a calmness to this kid that is not normal. It's not normal, man. Like I saw it week 1 when they were playing the Buccaneers, and I had zero expectation for the Commanders. And I mean, Bowles is dialing it up, man, and throwing it. And this kid was just like, hey, I was just tucking and running. He almost had 100 yards. Like, he was just like, I'm gonna just take what the defense is giving me. And you just see him week after week getting better and better. The deep ball wasn't there the first few weeks. Terry McLaurin was calm and like, we're gonna figure it out. Now Terry McLaurin is off of 2 straight 100-yard games. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's just when you have confidence in what's going on and what's being created, you're chill. And big up to the coaching staff. They nailed their head coach hire. They nailed their offensive coordinator hire. They nailed their first pick. I'll leave it at that because this is your stage, bro. This is your moment, bro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do your thing.
Yes, I'd like to take this moment to thank. I'm floored, man. I watch every play of this young man. I sit every week at a bar with televisions. I make sure the Seahawks is on one. I've got like literally about 8 TVs, but I make sure the Seahawks and the Commanders are front and center, man. And I'm just and they didn't play at the same time this week, so I really got to lock it. I can't believe this, man. This guy's out of this world, bro. I haven't seen this type of poise. It's the word. Like the whole game, I'm like, man, do you see this guy's like he's unflappable.
Yeah.
I mean, guys are coming at him from every which way. We won. I feel like it was the second game of the year we won. A tough game. And I remember one of my guys hit me, he's like, did you want to win? I was like, nah, but you just take it. I was like, once we got into the game, it was the fourth quarter. I started rooting, knowing I should probably lose. And then we started stringing victories together. And I'm like, hold on, man, are we going for it here? Are we trying to win? I thought we were playing for draft picks.
Right.
And then when I started, I was like, oh my, like, I don't want to overreact because I've watched all of the media overreact. They were crowning this guy the Princess Amunda a long time ago, right? 2 weeks ago. And I was like, hold on here now. Like, I didn't want to say, I don't believe we're going to win our division. I think the Eagles are the best team in the division. And once they get healthy, it will show. But he is so good. We are nothing compared to them roster-wise.
Right.
But he is so good that I go, man, we actually have a shot. Yeah. Because when you have one of those guys, I haven't seen a guy like him play this well, this poise. It's the poise plus the abilities. It's the know-how. He knows when to pass, when to run. He's calm. It's like a veteran. He feels like he's been playing for 8 years. He's a veteran, and the guys look him in the eye and they know. Like he walked up to Zach Ertz and like went off on him the other day and pushed him. Like, because Zach was in a fight and he walked up and he said something to him, pushed him, and Zach just kind of turned and went. And I was like, did he just how long Zach Ertz has been in this league?
Right.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, he's the leader. These are his guys.
Yeah.
And when McLaurin was talking about it's gonna come, I was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's coming right. You know what I mean? I didn't know. I didn't know. Now I'm like, bruh, I don't know. I can't explain how good this guy is. I don't know how he is this good. It's amazing. Shout out to Dan Quinn. Shout out to the staff. Listen, okay? Our defense is playing good. I can't believe it. We still have pieces to get on that defense. I'm being honest. You know your team. I'm just like, yeah, we got holes, but dare I say this? I gotta say this because this is me.
Yeah.
Bobby Wagner looks good.
Yeah.
Okay?
He does.
After all of the shit I talked last year, I'm like, when we got Bobby Wagner, I was just, no, don't do it. I was like, hey, my phone was buzzing. People hit me. I was like, I can't get rid of this guy. Right? That's how I felt. I was like, he's slow. He can't cover in the passing game. Now I'm like, man, who's this guy?
Yeah.
That's another discussion. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Right.
And now I'm just like, oh, snap. Okay. And then I heard probably the best conversation I could have heard was Micah Parsons and I think it was Diggs. It was someone on their team on the Cowboys, and they were talking about the Commanders and how good they are, Jaden Daniels being a dog and all this other stuff. But they said, it's our coach. And they said, when he was in Dallas, right, and their defense was all world, they were like, man, he just has you ready to run through a wall. He's just and you hit and you go, oh, that's what's going on.
Yeah.
We got one. Dan's good, right? I didn't want Dan. I didn't want Dan. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
He had a go of it in Atlanta or whatever. It didn't go well. Mm-hmm. I'm like, don't come here and bring that trash down here.
Yeah.
I love him now.
Yeah.
I was wrong. I can admit I was wrong.
Yeah.
I love him. You know what I'm saying? But I did come around before the season started. I will say that. With Dan, I came around when I saw the culture and I was like, okay, I get it. I like what he's building. But yeah, I don't know. Jaden Daniels, man, this guy is, I don't know. I'm speechless, man.
As you should be, man. And this, because this, when things are not normal, we're supposed to not know how to respond. It's not normal. I just saw an airplane land on the freeway. I don't know what to say. That's stuff that it's not normal. You know what I'm saying? To Dan Quinn, I remember talking to Kevin during the off season, and it's very easy for Seattle fans to be like, man, Dan Quinn, right? But one thing, like to have a coach who has had high level of success is very impressive to me. To get a team to a Super Bowl is tough, right? Like in itself. The greats of the greats are the ones who can sustain that type of greatness. Usually you're going to fall on deaf ears and your thing's really not going to work anymore. But the fact that Dan has it in him, and he had success with Seattle, he had success in Atlanta, he had success with the Cowboys defense, lets me know that like, he's solid, right? And what I really liked about it was you shouldn't feel bad because the Commanders didn't have Dan as their first choice, right? You know what I'm saying? Like he had been around. But what I liked about what he did was he went out and he knew he was getting one of those two quarterbacks. And he was like, well, I'm going to get an offensive coordinator who is going to hit the ground running with our first draft pick, and it's going to change life, which it has done. And not enough credit gets given to organizations when they put their star players in positions to have success, and that's what they've done. All love goes to Jaden Daniels for what he's brought, but they have also put him in a great situation to where he feels extremely comfortable to be him, to do him, and he's making them look like geniuses.
Hey, we got some solid veterans in that locker room too, which is crazy because you know, there are certain teams that try to turn around the culture thing.
Yeah.
And when you have vets like we have, it just makes it easier. The Bobby Wagner and those guys, the Austin Ecklers, Zach Ertz's, these guys just bring a level of like professionalism and competition and focus and what it is to win in this league. And you surround that with young talent. And that was good for a McLaurin because McLaurin approaches everything right, but he's just never won.
Yeah.
And so you want guys like that to have that around them. Young McCaffrey's looking good. Yeah, it's just things are looking up, man, in Washington. And I'm in. When I say I'm in, I'm like, let's go for it now. Let's go to the playoffs.
Why not?
I don't want to wait. I don't want to wait around on nothing. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go see what we have. Let's get to the playoffs. See how far. Hey, he's so good that I'm like, we get to the playoffs, man.
Because he's gonna keep getting Doomy. He's gonna keep getting better, bro. So it's like in January, no telling what this kid's gonna look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, speaking of look like, I could not recognize the Seattle Seahawks this week. As many of you guys know, the Seattle Seahawks lost 29-20 to the Giants of New York, who came into Seattle and put, I don't even know what you could call it. It was a complete drubbing on the Seattle Seahawks. And it was tough to witness, tough to watch, tough to live through and endure. It felt like last year. Mm-hmm. It felt like it. I was just, where am I? Mm-hmm. Wait, what year is it? Mm-hmm. What year is it? Mm-hmm. But there is enough blame to go around. Mm-hmm. I want to start with just giving you some floor time to talk about where's your blames, where are you placing it, man, just, whatever's on your heart, man, get it off.
Me and you, we talk a lot, especially about Hawks, and I'm big on coaching, right? There's a lot of responsibility that goes into coaching. Yeah. And it's impossible. I chose that word on purpose. Impossible to not start with the coaching staff, right? The head coach, Mike, the offensive coordinator, Grubbs. Mike, because you're supposed to avoid the trap game, knowing that the Niners are coming up Thursday and you're playing. It's your job to make sure what happened doesn't happen. That's why you came in, right? To assure us that that's not going to be the case, okay?
Yeah.
Failed miserably, okay? Out the gate failed, though. Like, wasn't even prepared to play.
Yeah.
Like, that was just, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Second, Grubbs. We saw potentially a coming out party last week with Ken Walker and how special he could be, right? And we barely give him the ball.
5 carries.
And we barely give him the football. It's almost as if it was on purpose. Like they didn't want to win.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, I'll start it there. And then it just trickles down because you said it perfectly to me. And I laughed and I didn't want to laugh because it's not funny. But there's plenty of blame to go around. There's so many people. But it starts with the coaching. That was completely unacceptable. You tie the. I'm sorry. You get they're going over. If it goes in overtime, the Seahawks win the game. You won't convince me. They win a game that they should have lost.
Yeah.
And he blocks it for a touchdown.
Let me jump in. Only because I like this. I'd rather go piece by piece here. You started with coaches, so I'm gonna just stay on the coaches, and then we'll move together. Right? We could move through the blame shifting. Grubbs, against the Detroit Lions, of the first 15 plays, 13 of them were passes. Right? Against the Detroit Lions. Remember, we went 3 and out the first one. Second drive, the fumble by DK, and then another 3 and out, and we ended up scoring.
Yeah.
But in the second half, we adjusted, and Kenneth Walker has 3 touchdowns, right? Because we start, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We saluted Grubbs for the adjustment. So to come in the next game, and of the first 22 plays, 18 of them were passes. What are we doing? And it's not working. And it's not like, and then there's no adjustment. It never came. It never came. I will say this. It was a welcome to the NFL moment for Grubbs and for Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
Right? This was their welcome to the NFL. I didn't want it to come this fast, but it was welcome. For Grubbs, this is not college, sir. You're gonna stick that ball in that running back's gut, and you're gonna let him run it. You're not gonna throw the ball that many times and be successful in the National Football League. Right. No, sir. Welcome to the NFL. For Mike McDonald, get your team prepared, man. You got to figure it out. I don't know how you get them mentally. Watch a movie, bring in a comedian. I don't know what you do. It is your job we weren't ready to play. And Mike, you're the guy on defense.
Yeah.
And right now, I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know. I said this going in. Me and you've been having this conversation. Yeah. And I've been saying this. I said, I don't know. You've told me I'm not worried about the defense. And I'm like, I don't know it yet. Yeah. I said, we played the Patriots and they ran it down our throats.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to see what happens against a good team. Then we played the Detroit Lions. And it wasn't like they ran it down our throats. They just did whatever they wanted. Yeah. Right? So it was like, okay. And then this game comes, and the Detroit Lion game was actually worse. Mm-hmm. It was worse. This just is worse because we were supposed to win. Right? Detroit is like, you lost to Detroit. But this game is like Danny Dimes. They ran the ball for 175 yards on us, fam.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can stop the run. I heard Reed say today it's easily fixable with some gap things pre-snap. Show me. Don't tell me, show me. Show me how easily fixable it is. And you know when? When? Thursday.
Yeah.
Show me on Thursday. Because you're going to get some stretch runs. And yeah. So from a coaching standpoint, it's not just this game. For Mike McDonald, I'm going, defensively, I need to see this thing because we looked really good against bad teams defensively. And I'm like, I need to see it against a good team so I can start to build that confidence. Remember all that playing on a string we were doing? Somebody cut the string, man.
Yeah.
and we're no longer playing on a string. Guys are everywhere. So I'll leave that alone on the coaches. Where do you want to go next? You or me?
You know what? I'll give it to you. I'm still a little worked up. I'll go with you. You go ahead.
I can go a lot of places. I'm going to start at the top of let me just give you my top of my list. Okay. Right off top, Trey Brown. Mm-hmm. That had to be, quite frankly, the worst game he's ever. I mean, they scored all the touchdowns on him.
Yeah.
Like, in all of this, Witherspoon and Woolen played really good games. That's the crazy part. Mm-hmm. No, they actually played good games. You just be like, man, I didn't hear their numbers called at all. Right. They got a couple passes on them, but they were like little 6-yard slants. The guys right there trying to make up. But I'm like, Witherspoon didn't get that's the plus.
Yeah.
Defensively is like, them guys actually played stuff. I'm telling you, Trey Brown was complete. Oh my God. I just was like, This guy can't guard anybody. He played a horrid game.
Yeah.
That's up top.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, DK Metcalf.
Mm-hmm.
Are you kidding me?
Again?
In the second half, I threw my napkin. It's all I had. It's all I had, man. I threw my napkin. It didn't go very far. It kind of fluffed in the. I couldn't believe it. And why it bothers me is the reason why, in my opinion. DK Metcalf is a meathead. We've said that. He's a tough guy. And because of it, sometimes the fundamentals get lost when it comes to the little things like that, like getting down or covering the ball with two hands, or because it don't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It don't matter. I'm DK. Like, get off me. And it's like, bro, these are grown men. This is the NFL. And it doesn't mean you're not tough. We all know you're 6'4" and chiseled inch frame, and we got it, bro. We got it. Enough with the meathead stuff. Cover the ball. We don't want the mistake.
Right.
It hurt us. His thing hurt us so bad in both games. You've already said, in your opinion, he's the reason we lost the first one. I'm saying this game in the second half, we came out and we were driving in the second half. We're putting something together, and then you fumble, and all the momentum was gone. That was it. Guys are deflated. It just kind of, and they weren't deflated like we were playing a good team. They were deflated like just uphill battle. Just like, we got to go put another drive together.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So I don't want to berate the point. Since I'm talking, I'll run them down. My other people, Jackson Smith-Jigba, sir. What I thought about you and what I'm seeing, I need them to marry. I need you to catch the ball. This is the second time. This is not the first time. This is the second. And you told me the last time this wouldn't happen again. And here we are 2 weeks later, third down. You can ice a game I just catch the ball, fam. I'm supposed to be, if you want to be my new Tyler Lockett, you know what I do with Lockett? I count on him. Mm-hmm. That's what Tyler Lockett is. You count on it. You know you can count on him. So, other things, just briefly, I won't go too much further because I think I've said it all. My last blame is the offensive line. My God. Now, in fairness to them, this is probably the toughest front they've faced this year. Mm-hmm. People don't really know about that front.
It's serious.
That is a very serious front. So, they played well the week before, but they were horrid. Mm-hmm. I have no blame for Geno Smith. He had no time.
Really?
It was the game. This was the game where I was going, this guy's got no time. He's got no time.
I'll challenge, and this is funny, folks, because this conversation usually goes different. I'm the one defending Geno.
Yeah.
But I want to just pose this question.
Okay.
When he slid on the third down before he get the first down.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. No, you're right.
And that was a critical part. It was like, I am almost convinced that, they did this. They didn't want to win the game. Because it's just, how does everyone contribute to, everyone has to contribute on this level in order for you to lose to that team on that stage. And everyone played their part. Right. And it's like, no, Geno, get the first down. Right. I get that you had however many yards rushing. I love it. Okay, cool. It goes for nothing because I would have rather you get the first down.
You know what? I digress. You are correct. I did hear some things about the possibility. I don't know enough about this or if it really happened about, some of the run plays, Geno moving to pass plays, where it's just kind of like, hey,
I can believe it.
hand the ball off, Geno.
He
Like,
needs to
what I
cut
mean?
that shit out.
Yeah, we're calling runs. We need you to run it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because you're in games, and I know you think you got them, but uh, you're passing the ball 50 times now. This is too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know that part. You're right. Geno made that mistake. I just was saying in the bulk of it, when it comes to Geno, I just felt like he was battling. And it just wasn't the O-line. This was one of the games where I was like, it was most of the time. I'm hard on Geno when it's not this bad. All the other games, like, plays out there to be had, bro. Like, you already know you don't have a good line. So similar to what I used to say about Geno last year, I used to be like, he's not good enough for what we need. Like, we need the quarterback that can deal with what the line is. This is the line. So this is this is it. It's not changing right now. No. And so, has been in the other weeks, so I'm not worried about him as much as I'm worried about the defense. It's not the offense. I'm not worried. When we say worried, how you're like, I'm not worried about the defense. I'm like, I'm not really worried about the offense. Our line will be good enough. If it can do what it did the last few weeks, that's good enough to put up points. We've been putting up points. I'm concerned about the defense right now because I haven't seen it yet, and so I'm going to get another chance. I don't want to see another game, a shootout where come on, man, hold somebody to 13 or you know what I'm saying? Like
that sounds. I don't even know if that's possible the way these guys is playing. I want to say something though to your point that I think is extremely valid, and I hadn't heard this, but this is why you get players signed. Right, you get the contract signed because now if you look up in the stats, Geno Smith is leading the league in passing. Right, he doesn't have a contract, so I could believe, I don't know this to be true, but I could so believe that he's checking out of run plays to throw passing plays because he's trying to set the tone on off-season negotiations. Now, clearly, I'm not a beat writer. I don't know this to be true. I'm just a fan. Hey, with the mic. With the mic. That's me, a fan with the mic, right? And this is why you get, because it's not about football, right? If it's about football, I'm running the play that's called because it's the reason why it's being called. And so we got to get back to it being about football, man. If that's true, Geno, we love you, bro. It's going to be there, but let's get these dubs.
The other thing I'll say about Geno is, look, you're going to have strong negotiating power. You don't have to worry about that. That's going to be a done deal. But you're going to give them negotiation power. You know what I mean? If we're losing, number one, and then number two, Geno has thrown the most passes in the entire NFL. So it starts being like, well, you're not, and the Seahawks have run the ball fewer than any other team. So John knows the numbers. John's going to look at your agent and go, yeah, he did that because of it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's not going to, get the W's, man. Get dubs, and that's going to fight a lot more for the case. But, I mean, what are you looking forward? Let's just talk really quick. Why do you think it looked so bad, though? Like, why did it feel like? I want to talk about how it felt like last year. What is that? Because it's everywhere. It was all on Twitter. Just this. Why does this feel like last year?
You really coined this phrase of just kind of, in the past we would just drop games that the Seahawks should win. And this was the token, like, just trap game. And you even said it to me, like, you posed it in a way, you was just like, yo, once we get through these Giants, oh, man, we're about to drag it. I played the Giants, no attention, right? There's no neighbors. They have Daniel Jones. Speaking of Daniel Jones, I won't go into that. So it was a game that we should have won. and we're in prime position to really put a stranglehold on the division. And with that loss, now it puts so much attention on Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Now the Niners can look at it as not, hey, it's not a huge uphill battle. If we win this game, we're right exactly where we need to be, right? So now they have more incentive to win, right? And now there's more pressure for the Seahawks to get the first game of the series, because if not, now it's like all the work that has been done so far in September is pretty much dead in the first week of October.
Yeah.
And so as a fan, you're looking at all these things, right? And I think that's why, and it was just amazing to see how everyone contributed to this catastrophe. You know, like everyone is like, no one's standing up being like, yo, I'm not letting this happen today.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, yeah, no, let me do my part. And that didn't feel good.
Everything you said, I think, was eloquently put, right? You're helping me go, yeah, that is why it feels like last year. It feels like a Pete Carroll loss, right? For the last couple of years, you get one of these, but it's the way we lost. It was, like you said, just losing again. You should win. I thought that was over too. Because we won the first ones, I was like, oh man, Mike McDonald, he handles that business, we're going to be good, right? Because remember, I said to you, if we win that Giants game, we just need to go 500 and we're 10-7, right? Because at that point, you're just going, all right, we got tough ones, but, let's split. Let's do what we got to do. I feel like I have smoke for one other person, but I don't know if I saw a lot of chatter about how the Seahawks, how it wasn't Pete's fault. Like it wasn't Pete's fault. See, it wasn't Pete's fault. I see it different. See this as Pete carryover. Yeah. I feel like what we're watching is Mike hasn't got all the stink out yet. Yeah. And you know what I mean? Like, it's carryover, because I'm like, the players are the same. So some of this is a matter of, it's the same guys, some of the same habits, some of the things, and sometimes you think you got it out, like, nah, you got to get back in there, and you got to, putting some slogans on the wall ain't gonna be enough, man. You gotta grind that constant. So I just feel like I'm not looking at Pete wasn't the problem. I'm like, nah, this is Pete. This is still Pete. It's here. These are his guys. Some of the good we get, I go, yeah, these are Pete's guys. And I take the good, the bad, and this is Pete. One thing I think is odd, though, I do wish Byron Murphy was there, because I just feel like he's the guy not going for it. And that might sound so odd, but I just feel like he's young enough to be dumb enough. You know what I mean? Just be like, nah, man. But the guy I have a little bit of smoke for, I forgot, Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams. To me, when a team's running down our throats like that, that's kind of a black eye to you, man. Like, where are you at? Where is he? You were in the Pittsburgh game, and you're in this one. Yeah. So last year's Pittsburgh game, where we got ran all over, and like, you can't, as a player, you can't play in that many games where you're getting demoralized. Like, you know what I mean? You're a common denominator. I'm not going to go after the corners and all. Nah, I'm going right down the middle. My D tackles have to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I need him to make more plays in that. Like, you're a big money guy. Like, I don't think you put enough onus on stressing Leonard Williams. Like, you know what I mean? You're our guy. In Kansas City, they do it. I mean, this is what they did with Aaron Donald, right? Like, you're our guy. We just paid you $90 million. Like, you're the guy. Yeah. You're in the middle, man. Let's get it. Yeah. We're not. Don't look over at Hall. He's making $4 million, man. You know what I'm saying? You're the guy. You're the big money free agent signing. We traded away a second-round pick for you, paid you money, brought you in here to resolve something. At this point, I'm going, hey, man, I ain't seeing enough.
Yeah.
Like, even the type of enough that makes me go, he's worth the money. Right now, I'm like, I ain't seeing enough, right?
Yeah.
I'm questioning, are you worth the money? So kind of that. I mean, the other guys, I'm not tripping. Lastly, though, I will say our linebacker play, not good.
No.
This looked like when we went and got those linebackers, and a few of us were going, who? Huh? Right? And we were kind of like, we're getting these guys off the scrap heap, and people, no, these are the guys that fit Mike's system. I'm like, no, the other guys were signed, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like John Snyder said, well, it went a little faster than we thought, and they were focused on getting Leonard Williams done, and Brooks got signed, and Patrick Queen, and everybody started getting signed. And here we are. You know what I mean? And in comes the Bakers, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it didn't look good at linebacker at all. Like, when a team's running like that, I'm looking at my D tackles and my linebackers, man, and I'm going, and what did I tell you coming in about the defense? Down the middle. Those are my concerns. Down the middle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but lastly, what are you looking forward? Let's on a positive note. 49ers this Thursday versus the Seahawks. What are you looking forward? Are we going to bounce back? How do we bounce back? What are you thinking?
I think there's still great opportunity for the Seahawks for Thursday because the Niners are reeling. Like, they just dropped one to the Cardinals. And so the division is still very much up in the air. And the Niners are they're the perfect team to beat while they're down. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to allow them to get their mojo back and to get going. Like, you want them to be pushing that huge rock up the hill to get to where they want to get to. And it's a great opportunity to do it. If the Niners win Thursday, they're still in great position, right? And so I think the Seahawks will want to make amends for what they showed the city on Sunday, and I think they'll be up for the task, right? And so I think we will get a much better product on the field. The only problem is the level of competition is going to be dramatically and drastically different than the talent level that we saw on Sunday. And so we just got to hope that, there's some self-inflicted wounds over there in the Niners, and they don't have all their ducks in a row, but they're still an extremely talented bunch. But I think the Seahawks, both teams are desperate. I'll put it that way. And I won't say desperate. I'll say both teams completely understand what's at stake. And it makes well for a great sporting event. But if you're a Seahawks fan, you don't care about that. You want to win, right? Yeah. So, but I think the Seahawks are going to show up at the very least. Will it mean that it's going to be a W? I don't know, because the Niners have to win this game on Thursday. And so it'll be interesting to see, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the turmoil in San Francisco is real. It's been since the beginning of the year. I kind of said that to you from the gate. Yeah. Things happening in Cincinnati. I'm like, those don't bode well. Big loss for them to the Cardinals. You got to hope it messes with their psyche and their confidence a little bit. On our end, great test for us. This is a great test. As frustrating as that loss is, yeah, this is the one Pete we get the team up for, though, too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so this is going to be a great test. A great test for Mike McDonald. I don't even want to bring up Pete, really. For Mike McDonald, okay, you lost the game. If you're going to be, we signed you to 6 years. If you're going to be here for 6, you're going to lose some of those.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's move on, right? And he did that. Kudos to him. As soon as he got to the press conference, he had already moved on. We got to get to Thursday. Nobody cares. I was bad. He owned everything, but he's like, let's move on, man. Like this. Yeah. Nobody even wants to talk about this. Let's move on, right? We lost. We got our asses beat. Let's get it going. So great test in front of us. I'm excited to see what we do. I'm a little concerned again with the injuries. We're back in that weird space, but we'll see who plays. Nwosu is back on IR, so that's a little frustrating.
Yeah,
Mafe practiced today, so that's good if we could get him, because it seems like Derek Hall's probably not going to play. So if we're going to need a pass rusher, right?
Yeah.
So if Mafe comes back, if we had Derek Hall and Mafe, fine. We got our two who've been here most of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. No excuses, though. I mean, everybody's injured. Everybody's banged up. I think if we run the ball, you can run the ball in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Teams have been running on them this year.
Mm-hmm.
And so let's do that. Get the play action going. Let Geno cook a little bit. Stick around. Play a good game. But on the record, are we winning or are we losing? This is it.
I have the Niners winning.
So do I. I'm sorry, man. I can't just say, you know what I mean? I want to say us, but I got them too, man. I'm just, man. Debo and Ayuk's back, too. He looked good last week. You know what I'm saying? That's it, people.
Two fans with a mic.
Two fans with a mic. Thanks for joining us, man. Two fans with a mic, short for two fanatics with a mic. That's what we are. We are with you guys every Monday night about 9 p.m. right after Monday Night Football. Join us, Two Fans with a Mic, everywhere on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Follow the pages, share it with your people. Hit us if you ever have questions or you want to talk about anything or you want us to talk about something. Send it over to us, man. We'll make sure we address it, man. Keep it pushing. So that's it, man. Until next week, brother.
Till next week, brother.
Over and out. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah,
Kurt fell asleep, man.
Nah, I'm here. I'm here.
Red Bull might be out, man.
Nah, we good.
Yeah. Sorry for the length, man. It had been a while, man.